Brimo, the CEO and Managing Director of OpenLearning. So Adam is going to run us through a quick presentation regarding OpenLearning and how it's been tracking recently, and then we're going to open it up to a Q&A. So if any participants throughout the presentation would like to submit questions through the Q&A function in Zoom, I will ask them to Adam after he's finished off with the presentation. Adam, it's all yours.
Great, thanks Ryan. Thanks everyone, it's great to be here today. Let's share my screen. Great, so my name is Adam. I'm the founder and CEO of OpenLearning. And OpenLearning is an AI-powered SaaS platform for lifelong learning. Now, what do we really mean by that? Well, first, let me just give you a brief background on the company and our board of directors. So my name is Adam. I'm the managing director and CEO. We've also got Spiro Papas, who is our non-executive chairman, Matt Reed, who's an independent director, and Rupesh Singh, who's the founder and CEO of ECA, who is also the company's largest shareholder now as well. Now, OpenLearning actually started in 2012, and I founded the company with a couple other people, including David Cullion, who is a founder and CTO of OpenLearning, and Richard Buckland, who's a professor of computer science. So David and I have been driving the business for quite some time now. And really, when we first started OpenLearning, the focus was on making it possible for anyone around the world to design and deliver really high quality and engaging courses online. Now, I think most people have probably taken an online course before, or even a course at university, and you've probably found that those courses can be quite dry and boring. Oftentimes, they might have a video or just a quiz, maybe some readings. And what we wanted to do with OpenLearning was make it possible to run courses that were much more project-based, much more of a community of practice, and allowed people to work together to solve problems and to get to know each other. So that's how we started in 2012. Initially as a platform for running these courses at a very large scale, known as massive open online courses at the time. Now, after doing that for about 5 years, we started transitioning into a platform that made it possible to run any type of course, from short courses to micro-credentials to online degrees. And now, fast forward to today, OpenLearning is being used as a learning management system and a lifelong learning platform for short courses, micro-credentials, and online degrees for over 3.5 million people around the world. And we have over 228 active education providers. These are education providers who are using OpenLearning and paying for OpenLearning on a software as a service model. These institutions are delivering tens of thousands of courses around the world. Some of those are visible on our website, which is part of our marketplace, but others are actually private courses, which means that these institutions are building and delivering courses for their own students they may have found or sourced their own way, or to companies or to other organizations. Now, over the years, we've expanded into many different areas. And the focus of OpenLearning is really on providing our platform to universities, colleges, and other higher education providers to deliver these courses online. Now, over the past few years, we've also developed a number of new initiatives within the platform that have been designed to increase adoption of the platform and to expand its reach. In particular, over the past year, we've really focused on embedding and integrating generative AI into OpenLearning. And what that's allowing us to do is make it possible for anyone to build better courses more efficiently, which I'll share more about today. Now, over the past few years, OpenLearning has really focused on growing its software as a service revenue. And this is our software as a service annualized recurring revenue, which has been growing about 18% year on year. This is from the past quarter, so Q1 2024, as at the end of March. And we've also focused on growing our average customer value. Now, what we are doing here is, maybe I'll share a bit more about our business model as well. So, for example, a university or a college or an education provider, if they want to use the OpenLearning platform, they will sign up, usually on an annual contract. And in that contract, they'll have a set number of learners or students that they might be delivering their courses to. And they're responsible for finding those students themselves. We're not marketing the courses for the institutions. We do have a marketplace, but we see that as a value add, and we don't actually charge separately for that. But the vast majority of the learners are going to these courses from the institutions themselves. So they might sign up to use OpenLearning for 1,000 students or 2,000 students. And our pricing is based on the number of students they have in their courses in a particular year. So what that means is that an institution might sign up, start using OpenLearning for, say, 500 students or 1,000 students. And then over time, that might grow to 1,000 a year, 2,000 a year, 3,000 a year, as they expand the number of courses on the platform and as those courses gain traction. Now, most of our customers are using OpenLearning for specifically online learning programs, such as short courses, micro-credentials, and online degrees. We have some universities that are using OpenLearning as their learning management system, which means that they're using OpenLearning as their single platform for all of their on-campus and online programs. Now, that's a very small subset of our customer base, but one that we're looking to expand. But the key takeaway here is that as institutions have started using OpenLearning, they're expanding the number of courses, expanding the number of students, and that's growing our annualized recurring revenue from each of these customers. At the same time, over the past few years, we've really focused on maturing our technology stack, and that's allowed us to bring down our hosting costs. So our gross margin has actually been increasing much more quickly than our revenue. And that's allowed us to increase our margins and to bring down our losses. Now, our vision for EdTech is really focused on enabling the entire spectrum of education delivery, from education to employment. And the first two areas is where OpenLearning has focused initially, being learner discovery and learning delivery. Now, in the discovery component, that's where our public marketplace comes in. So if you visit OpenLearning and you go to our website, you'll probably see a number of courses, about 500 plus, that are listed on the marketplace. These are courses that institutions want to make available to the public, and some of them might be free and some they're paying. Now, this is a small subset of the courses running on the platform, but what it does is it increases visibility and awareness of our partners, and also it makes more people come to the OpenLearning website. So it boosts our traffic and it helps grow our brand awareness. But this is also quite important for lifelong learning. So if people are looking to upskill and reskill, they'll probably be looking for new courses and they might come to OpenLearning to find this. The main component of our business is learning delivery, and that's the OpenLearning platform, which is a software as a service platform that enables anyone to deliver any type of course online, blended, or face-to-face through the platform. And these are the two key components we focused on, but these are only a subset of the education technology market. Our longer term vision is to expand or partner with businesses in each of these segments to connect education to employment. In particular, with student support and administration, these are areas where we're most likely partnering with other existing incumbent providers. It's a lot of work to build these systems, but they're clearly part of the ecosystem. So we are working on integrations and partnerships with student management systems and other EdTech products that our customers are using to help fill out the offering. And at the end of it, we have the opportunity to expand into employment. And this is a longer term plan, but it's one that will leverage the data that OpenLearning has been collecting on the ways in which people have learned and the skills that they've been developing. Now, the way we think about this is our vision is really to enhance this flywheel. And what this is doing is it's really an AI-powered platform that closes the loop between education and employability. We have the learning element, which includes the platform and all of that. We have discovery, which I mentioned with the marketplace. We have built-in assessment technology, so you can run outcome-based assessment, and students can generate portfolios of learning. So one of the unique aspects of the OpenLearning platform is that everyone who goes through the courses on the platform will have an automatically generated portfolio of evidence of learning. And this evidence shows the skills and competencies the person has developed over time throughout their courses. This is incredibly valuable for professional development and for recognition of prior learning, but also for skills matching. So that's an area that we already have. And what we are thinking about in the employment side is actually connecting this to opportunities for students to change careers or expand their career. And this could be done through talent search. So this is an area that we have in our medium-term roadmap. It's not one we're focusing on this year, but as you'll see, it is an area that we are actively developing towards. So what we focused on initially is building out the learning platform, building out the discovery and assessment capability, and enabling people to generate these portfolios of learning. Now, once all of that is there, which it is now, we've actually already built up a database of well over a couple million portfolios of learning around the world. And these could eventually be searched as part of our talent search product. So that's something that we have in our longer term roadmap, a couple of years away. But the element that we've focused on for the past year, and we're focusing on this year as well, is around really enhancing the generative AI layer inside OpenLearning for the benefit of education providers. And this is where we're unlocking huge value for institutions, because at the moment, they have to develop all of their courses from scratch, as they've been doing, for the past 20, 30 years when they move online. And they also have to deliver those courses and facilitate those courses and assess those students. Now, this is something that generative AI is capable of doing and is already starting to do in our platform. And that's what's really exciting to us, because for the past 12 years, the greatest challenges we've had have actually been increasing adoption of the platform and making it easier for people to build and design their courses and then deliver those courses. And the generative AI tools that we've launched over the past year have now made it possible to actually automate a huge proportion of this work. So as you might remember, about a year ago, we launched our first set of AI tools, the AI Assistant. And the AI Assistant had two aspects, being able to generate content and then being able to generate activities within a course. Now, in January this year, we rolled out our most significant AI feature yet, which is an AI course builder. And this AI course builder is actually a step-by-step AI wizard that takes you from the objective through to learning outcomes, modules, course structure, and then all the page content and activities and assessments. So it actually generates the entire course end to end based on your direction using generative AI right within the platform. And this is easily saving educators 50%, 70%, sometimes up to 90% of the time in actually building their courses. So to put that in perspective, if you're building, let's say, a subject in a master's degree, let's say organizational behavior or macroeconomics, if you're building that course from scratch, writing all the content, designing it at a university or college, you might spend 2 or 3 months doing that at a cost of tens of thousands up to $50,000. With the AI course builder, you can get that down to 1 to 2 weeks. So it really makes the entire process a lot more efficient. And that's just the start. We've got a whole roadmap full of AI features. Next phase we're looking at is actually supporting the facilitation and assessment of students using AI, which will bring down delivery costs as well. And we've seen really strong uptake of these products, with up to 75% of our customers actively using the AI tools today. The next phase is focused on monetization of AI. So these tools are, at the moment, are currently free within the OpenLearning platform. And our approach has been to make those tools available to all of our existing customers to enhance our position in the market and to encourage usage and adoption. Our approach, though, is that these tools can actually be used outside of OpenLearning, because not every institution is going to be able to switch to OpenLearning's learning platform. Switching learning management systems or learning platforms at an institution is a months or years long process in some cases. And as much as I would like every institution in the world to use OpenLearning, they're not all using it yet. So our approach has been to make these tools available for free in the OpenLearning platform. But if you're not using the OpenLearning platform to deliver your courses, we are now rolling out a set of these tools that work with other learning management systems as well. And that's something that we're currently developing and is being rolled out this month. And we expect to start, seeing, well, hopefully seeing, that flow through in the next quarter. So these tools are really exciting. They use open standards to enable you to generate this content and then import it into other learning management systems like Moodle, Blackboard, and Canvas. And that's something that we'll be able to sell to every institution, regardless of which learning platform they're using. Now, on top of that, we are focused on expanding OpenLearning in a few different areas. One is into the learning management system market. And the LMS market is quite a large one. And that's where institutions are paying for a platform to use to deliver courses to all of their on-campus students historically. Now, OpenLearning has already been used as a learning management system in a number of universities across Southeast Asia, the largest one having about 20,000 students. So it is capable of doing this. However, it is a much smaller portion of our customers at the moment. I'd say probably only a handful that are using us as their single platform for everything. So if we can expand more into this space, then that would allow us to increase our average customer value significantly, because institutions that are currently using OpenLearning for a couple thousand students might end up using us for tens of thousands of students. And in order to do that, for the past couple of years, we've been developing a whole range of functionality within the platform that allow us to be feature complete and feature competitive with the other learning management systems. And the last big area that we're tackling this year is around online quizzes and testing. So that will allow us to really meet what I'd say are some of the last major requirements that we've struggled with in some institutions. On top of that, we're also in the process of integrating with student management systems. And student management systems are used at every institution. And we're looking at partnering with a couple of specific student management systems to make it easier for them to integrate with us and then to sell our products together. On top of that, we're also expanding into student acquisition space. And this falls under our learner discovery peer. And that's where a recent acquisition we've made of the UniGuide and Postgrad Australia fit in. These marketplaces have over 800,000 users a year, just over 15,000 courses, and have degrees from about 70 institutions. And these websites will complement the OpenLearning marketplace and allow us to support our customers better, and also start looking at how we monetize that traffic that we're generating to our marketplace, which we're not currently monetizing at the moment. So these new sites and the technology behind it will help us start to monetize some of that traffic that we've been generating. On top of that, we're looking at expanding into new markets. And we're doing this in a capital light way. We've focused on cutting our costs over the past couple of years quite substantially. And that means that when we enter new markets, we're going in partnership with existing companies, and in particular resellers and referral partners who are already operating in those markets and already selling to universities and colleges. So last year we started expanding into India, and this year we signed our first deal with a very large university, Gujarat University, one of the largest universities and the oldest university in the state of Gujarat, with more than 200,000 students across its 235 colleges. We've also just started expanding into the Philippines in the same capital light way. We are partnering with local resellers who have expertise in the higher education sector, and they're taking our platform and AI powered tools into the market. And we're looking at how we can disrupt the local learning management system market there with a much more cost-effective offering that provides more functionality. So our strategic priorities going forward, and what we've been working on over the past year and a half, and we still have more work to do on, is really to get the company to profitability. And as you've seen, we're doing this in a number of ways. We're continuing to grow our core platform SaaS business across Australia and Asia. We've also been controlling our costs and improving our margins. So to put it in perspective, our costs have come down, well over 30% last year, another 30% this year, and our losses are narrowing. There's still more work to do, but we're on the right trajectory. We're expanding geographically into new markets with our capital light expansion strategy, and we've got distribution partnerships in place with ECA, who's our largest shareholder in India, and for the SaaS platform marketplace, and reseller partnerships in the Philippines and Indonesia. This is on top of our existing markets of Australia and Malaysia, where we're seeing continued traction. Now, with generative AI, we really do see this as a game changer for the business. Already, it's making a big difference in our sales efforts, and the tools that we've launched already have already increased adoption on the platform and have brought on new customers. So this year, we're really focused on expanding our generative AI tools across the platform into facilitation and assessment, but also selling them directly to users of other learning management systems, which we think could be a great opportunity for the company. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover here today, and I'm very happy to answer any questions I might have as well.
Thank you very much, Adam, for the presentation. I found that absolutely fascinating. Now, I've got a couple of questions to start us off. I would have any participants have any other questions they would like to ask Adam, just submit them in the Q&A, and I will ask them away. So, Adam, with market expansion appearing to be high on the priority list, what markets are you targeting other than the ones mentioned today in the presentation? Are potentially targets for market expansion, right? Is the US something that the company is potentially targeting?
Yeah, it's a great question. So at the moment, we have customers for our SaaS platform in about 15 countries. Now, we don't talk about most of those countries because usually it's a small portion. So we do have customers in the US, for example. We have customers in the UK, South Africa, across Asia. But in terms of our actual strategic focus, we are actually focusing on fewer markets than that. And the reason is that what we've discovered so far is that our conversion rates for sales are highest in markets where we have existing penetration. So our focus has been on going deeper rather than going broad. So that's why, as you can see, we're focused in highlighting a few key markets. Australia and Malaysia are our current largest markets.
Yep.
We're continuing our efforts there and trying to expand into more sectors in these markets. And then beyond that, we've mentioned India, the Philippines, Indonesia. These are markets where we're going in with resellers and doing some follow-up marketing of our own. Other markets, like say the US, the UK, Canada, these are markets where if there's inbound leads that come in from our marketing campaigns, then we will definitely follow them up, but they are not a key focus for our expansion. We have in the past run targeted campaigns in a few of these countries, and we found that the acquisition costs are very high. And unless you have existing penetration in the market, it's going to take a lot of money and a lot of time to really get in there. So we want to increase our market share in the existing markets we have, and then go after these targeted markets that we see as having more potential for us.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. Now, with OLL, sounding like you guys do the majority of your expansion through the use of resellers. Is there any inbound attraction that's coming in for the company? Or do you guys do any of your own personal marketing to get, just to really increase the customer base?
Yeah, great question. So we do a lot of our own marketing. So OpenLearning's brand is very strong, and we actually get quite a few deals through word of mouth. And that's something that we continue with. If you follow us on LinkedIn or other social media channels, then you may notice that we also run a lot of webinars. And webinars are a key channel for us. We have webinars that reach hundreds or over 1,000 people on a regular basis. And we have a lot of other content marketing that we run. So our marketing team is very active. That generates a lot of leads for the sales team. And those campaigns are really focused on Australia, Malaysia, and to a lesser extent, Indonesia and a few of the other markets. We are relying on resellers for that on-the-ground B2B sale. Yeah. So while we do get inbound sales in new markets through our campaigns, we're not relying on those solely. So we've got both approaches going. We've got an internal inside sales team based in Malaysia with our marketing team based there as well, running campaigns across the globe, and they're following up on the leads, but we want to expand the reach with resellers.
Okay. And with the leads that are getting generated through the webinars, are the leads mostly associated with educational institutions, or are you targeting individuals with influence to try and pose the product to the companies that they work within?
Yeah, great question. So with webinars and those and content marketing, I mean, you get all sorts, coming back. Yeah. You'll get, individual lecturers and teachers all the way through to deputy vice chancellors and heads of learning and teaching. So obviously, if we get the senior people, then that's much better. But those are the type of people that you more often have to reach through outbound campaigns, which we also run, or through resellers. So typically the people coming to the webinars are usually at the working level, or if they're a decision maker, they're dropping in to see what it's like. And then there's a follow-up from there. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for that clarification. Obviously, with the market cap and the stock price of OLL sitting where it is, when do you guys see OLL hitting a break-even point?
Yeah, so we haven't forecasted the market when we'll reach break-even. So obviously, we don't know the exact time, but as you can see from our recent reports, we are reducing our losses, and the trend is getting towards break-even. But we don't have an exact time frame that we can share with the market.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that clarification. Now, you did talk about business-to-business partnerships when it comes to growth and targeting a development pipeline. Is there any that are in the pipeline at the moment that are noteworthy for for overall and collective company growth that you can mention to the market today?
Beyond resellers, you mean?
Yes.
So we engage in discussions and partnerships all the time at OpenLearning, and we've got a number of joint initiatives that we run with different companies as well. Something I've highlighted in my presentation is that we are looking at partnering with companies in some of those other verticals, particularly in student administration and management and student support. So those are areas that we're actually looking to partner with organizations with in a number of different countries, because those are the types of products that are already embedded in institutions And if we integrate with those, then that can help us get in the door as well. So those are areas that we're exploring, but we don't have anything to announce at this stage.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. On the topic of OLL penetrating existing marketplaces with generative AI, you spoke about the use of new features relating to generative AI. When do you reckon they'll be ready to release to the marketplace and to current customers?
So our generative AI features are already in the platform and being used by customers. So we released our first set of features, the AI assistant, in May. Well, we launched in May last year, and we rolled it out to our customers in July. If I have my dates correct. And then we rolled out our AI course builder to all of our customers in January this year. And that's where, when I mentioned in the presentation, 75% of our customers have actually used these tools already. Right. So I'd say we're probably the first platform in the region to have not only built a piece of technology with generative AI in it, but to roll out to our entire customer base. Yeah. So that demonstrates how seriously we see the opportunity and the speed at which we can move, even with our reduced cost base. On top of that, as I mentioned, we're creating a version of these tools that will work with any learning management system. Now that is under development. However, that's being launched this month, and over the next quarter, we'll start to see how that rollout is progressing. Now, this is an iterative approach, so even if you get the tool to market, you still will be improving it over time.
All right. Well, thank you for that clarification. Now, speaking of the space, you just mentioned how how competitive the space is, but OLL is tracking really well using their generative AI. Are there any other competitors? Obviously, you said in the region, but collectively in the space, potentially in the US market, especially that being so tech heavy, are they doing similar sort of things?
So our main competitor from a learning platform perspective would be the learning management systems. Okay. And the specific company we're competing with varies by market. In Australia, it's primarily Canvas and Blackboard, I would say we're competing with. In the emerging markets, it's primarily Moodle, which is an open source product or sometimes a hosted product. And the reasons for that are purely, first to market, in that these learning management systems have been there 10, 20 years or longer. So they're incumbents. And in the emerging markets, a lot of the institutions are at the earlier stages of their development, and they also can't afford the license fees and the costs for a lot of these platforms out of the US. Okay. So our pricing in emerging markets is much more affordable and competitive than the US platforms. And on top of that, one of the main selling points for our platform, not just generative AI, which the major platforms have not yet embedded, but the other is that OpenLearning is an end-to-end solution. And what I mean by that is the platform includes all the features for the institution to set up and build their course and then deliver the course, but also to create a landing page for the course and sell it to the public. So it's very easy for them to set a price for their course. We have all the e-commerce functionality built into the platform. So someone can come in, purchase the course, be enrolled in the course, take the course, get a digital credential at the end, like a certificate or a badge, then have a portfolio that they can show to an employer. Now that whole end-to-end is something that OpenLearning does within its own platform. And that actually replaces about 5 different products that a lot of institutions would have to buy separately if they were going to set this up themselves with Moodle or Blackboard or Canvas. Okay. So when you look at that, the actual total cost of ownership of OpenLearning is even lower than just the platform fees. So that end-to-end solution is something that really appeals to a lot of institutions, but particularly in emerging markets where you don't have the same legacy infrastructure or software at the institution. So, in Australia, a lot of universities, they've had a whole range of systems for a very long time. It's very hard to make too many changes or replace things. Whereas when you have an emerging market, a lot of institutions are moving online for the first time. They're happy to take a solution which includes everything, fully integrated solution, which is much easier for them.
Oh, well, it's great to see how competitive OLL is being in that space. Now, regarding growth, is there going to be a need to raise capital to fund expansion before the end of the calendar year?
We haven't communicated any plans to the market to raise capital at this stage. We have very strong support from our largest shareholder, the Education Centre of Australia. Yep. They have provide us with a loan facility that we can draw down on from time to time. And they've maintained that they will continue to support the company. So really, it's up to us if we think if that's necessary. But at this stage, we haven't announced any plans to the market.
All right, well, thank you for that clarification again. That's positive news to hear from. Now, that wraps up questions from me. I've got a question from an attendee who asks, hi, Adam. With OLL having such a low/undervalued market cap, would you or the other directors consider buying shares in the company on the market?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm not sure if you've seen, but there was a change of directors interest notice from one of our directors that I think just came through on Friday. And I know this is a topic of discussion. It's something that I've certainly been considering myself as well. So obviously, if any of us do purchase on market, then a notice will be lodged with the ASX at the appropriate time.
All right, well, thank you very much for answering that one, Adam. Oh, that about wraps everything for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time, Adam. Really appreciate the presentation on OLL. Sounds like the company's got a positive future.
Yeah, we're very excited with everything that's going on. So thank you everyone for joining, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions as well. I'm always happy to chat to anyone.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Thank you.